This is a production of Florida State University.
Coming up on FSU Headlines, Florida State raises the torch with its most successful fundraising campaign ever.
FSU students give back to the College of Medicine for the kids.
And from student to president, witness a historic homecoming. It's all next on FSU Headlines.
Hello and welcome to another edition of FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker.
And I'm Seshmi Hayes. And Dennis and I are joining you this month from the William Johnston building here at the campus of Florida State University. And our top story this month is Florida State's Raise the Torch campaign. For the first time in the history of the university, a fundraising goal of $1 billion was set.
And with the help of private support and donors, the university not only reached but exceeded that lofty goal. The total was announced at a special gala celebration at Ruby Diamond Concert Hall. FSU Headlines reporter Mark Vaughn has the story.
Raising $1 billion. It's a massive goal, but not too big for Florida State University's most generous donors.
And we've accomplished that goal, and we want to say thank you to the thousands of donors who helped make this possible.
Florida State launched Raise the Torch, the campaign for Florida State, in July 2010, with a goal of raising that $1 billion. And the university reached and exceeded that lofty goal. With more than $1.15 billion raised in gifts and pledges received from donors and supporters by the campaign's official closing this past June 30th, 2018.
It's a culmination of many years of hard work for so many people. So I'm excited for everybody, not just John Thrasher, I promise you that, but for my good friend Tom Jennings, who's led this from our staff standpoint, for all the folks who have been involved in it, our donors, particularly the recipients of the great resources that we've raised in this campaign, our students. Those are the most important, and our faculty.
The philanthropic support will help Florida State continue to distinguish itself as a preeminent university and bolster its national profile.
It's going to help us continue our rise. Rankings are important. I mean, they really are. They helped us attract the best students. They help us attract incredible faculty. They help us get the kind of programs we want for our students and that they want. So it's a multiplier, if you will, of great benefits to Florida State University.
The funds raised and committed will create and enhance more than 1,300 student scholarships and benefit the educational pursuits of exceptional scholars from every corner of the state, nation, and the world. And even more good news, nearly 100 professorships were generated or supported as FSU continues to recruit and retain outstanding faculty.
What it really means, though, is we're trying to recruit and retain the very best students, the very best faculty that we can at Florida State. And to do that, we certainly rely on state funding, we rely on tuition, we rely on other revenue sources, but philanthropy is what helps make a good university great. And this $1 billion campaign is helping to make Florida State even greater.
Raise the Torch's most significant accomplishment is the creation of the nation's largest interdisciplinary degree-granting school of entrepreneurship, which would not have been possible without private support, particularly from Jan Moran and the Jim Moran Foundation, who committed a $100 million gift. This transformative gift provided funds to start and sustain the Jim Moran School of Entrepreneurship and offered additional support for the Jim Moran Institute for Global Entrepreneurship, a program long supported by Mrs. Moran and the Jim Moran Foundation. For FSU Headlines, I'm Mark Vaughn.
Thank you, Mark. Raise the Torch is just the third time FSU has held a university-wide fundraising campaign.
It was a very special return visit to his alma mater. Mokwetsi Masisi is the president of the Republic of Botswana, a landlocked country located in southern Africa. Just 5 months after being sworn in as president, President Masisi made a visit to the United States, and of course he made a stop here at Florida State, which was at the top of his list. With the FSU Marching Chiefs providing a grand entrance, Florida State University welcomed President Masisi of the Republic of Botswana back to his old stomping grounds.
I come here with very fond memories of Florida State University. And I must begin by extending a very warm word of appreciation for the hospitality extended, the enormous effort put into putting a program together for me, and your wonderful chief of police who found us as intruders wandering around campus yesterday.
President Masisi is a Florida State grad who attended FSU now 28 years ago. With a master's degree in social science education from Florida State, Masisi has devoted his life to improving the lives of others through education. Masisi is the 5th president of Botswana and says his Florida State education helped prepare him to be the country's head of state.
Well, it prepared me sufficiently enough to lose the first round of primary elections, but lose with grace. Enough grace to reset my agenda and win the next time when I stood. It set me in good stead to be appointed Assistant Minister in the Office of the President on the first time I was in Parliament. And then a year later, I'm Minister in the Office of the President. A ministry in the presidency is a very important ministry. And then I went over to education, which is my first love, for about 6 months in all. And then I was sufficiently prepared in the eyes of the president and my party and my colleagues to become the 8th vice president on the 12th of November 2014.
Having brought along his wife, daughter, and the entire Botswanan delegation, Masisi met with FSU President John Thrasher, Provost Sally McRory, and select administrators, faculty, and students.
I want to thank Florida State for being what it is. I want to thank you, President Thrasher, and your dear wife, for the wonderful work you've put in, and your team, for the wonderful work you've put in, particularly your fundraising efforts. Hitting a target of $1 billion is no small feat. And when you look at campus, from what it looked like 28 years ago when I was here, it's remarkably different. But it still has a unique sparkle of FSU.
And with fond memories of his alma mater, Masisi is hoping his country and the university can work together in the near future.
I want to express my wish that we would reinvigorate the relations we had, particularly in the area of education. We've got a student who's doing a master's degree in the performing arts and drama here. Yes, sir. And your school of meteorology is among the finest in the world. Yes, sir. Your law school, your school of medicine, and of course stone building, and I cannot forget the Learning Systems Institute, LSI, for all that they did. So there's a lot of value that you bring. And we have a number of universities, both public and private, that would benefit from partnering with you. And I want to beseech you to use me and abuse me in creating those linkages, rekindling them.
Masisi advised today's students to embrace the opportunities that Florida State provides for them. And as a true Nole, he couldn't leave without a great message for the Noles on the field.
The Seminoles will win again. They'll win again.
And if you'd like to see more from his visit, including pictures of his visit, you can check out our news section at news.fsu.edu.
For the 3rd consecutive year, Florida State University has been named a diversity champion. The Florida State campus was one of only 13 universities nationally to receive the honor from Insight into Diversity magazine. In addition to the champion designation, Florida State also earned the magazine's Higher Education Excellence in Diversity Award for the 5th consecutive year. While Associate Vice President for Human Resources, Renisha Gibbs, says it's exciting to receive the recognition. She says with each award, the university should remember the job is never done.
I think diversity is just so very important. I think our students, our faculty, and our staff demand it. They want to have an environment and a culture that's respectful and inclusive. And so I think with just those kind of expectations, we've always got to be striving to make sure that we're meeting the mark and achieving the goal.
Florida State crafted a comprehensive plan in 2008 to unite diversity and inclusion efforts across all areas of the campus, and that work continues today.
And before we go to break, the place for Market Wednesdays and the Center of Student Engagement outside the classroom is demolished. The now former Ogelsby Student Union complex is in the demolition phase of its major renovation project, with Crenshaw Lanes, the post office, Club Down Under, and more having been torn down. The remainder of the Student Activities Building and the core of the Turner Building are on deck to be torn down in the coming weeks. Highlights of the new union include a new food court with 8 new food destinations, a brand new Club Down Under, a new Crenshaw Lanes, new art center, and a space on the west side for Market Wednesday. There will also be a bigger FSU campus bookstore, new ballrooms, and meeting spaces. Demolition on the union began earlier this summer. And coming up next is a fresh check on mental wellness.
It's a festival-like outreach for students to learn about mental health resilience and what they need to know about students who are in distress so that they can help them get to help and help to prevent suicide.
Why these students are gathered on Landis Green to ensure they're having more good days to come. That's next on FSU Headlines.
We are Florida State University.
When you buy a Florida State University license plate,
you're not just showing your school spirit.
You're supporting students like us.
In the lab,
in the classroom,
and in the library.
Putting this tag on your vehicle helps Florida State students achieve their dreams. So show your pride. Purchase an FSU license plate today.
And welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Seshmi Hayes.
And I'm Dennis Schnitker, coming to you from the campus of Florida State University.
Not far from here, some of Florida State University's best and brightest undergraduate students are conducting some compelling research under the supervision of their professors.
And then, Seshmi, they got the chance to showcase their hard work in front of the university community as part of the annual President's Showcase of Undergraduate Research Excellence. Here's a look at some of this year's presenters.
Every year we come here, and the quality, the intensity of the research, and the passion that you all have for the projects and what you're working on is just amazing.
Today we're at the Turnbull Conference Center for the President's Showcase of Undergraduate Research Excellence. So undergraduate research is important because it furthers knowledge. It helps students to explore questions that haven't fully been answered yet and to find out more information about how to solve problems that the world is facing.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like try to think about that.
Research in general is a great opportunity to sift out what you're interested in or the questions the underlying questions that you have that you feel like other people may not be as interested in. So if you can find something that interests you, it can't hinder you. You can only go up from there. So research is great in general.
I would like to continue doing research at a higher level, at the graduate level, and this is basically like the same thing. It's really just exposing me to all the pitfalls, all the hardships that I'm going to be facing in the future, and also showing me what the successes feel like.
I'm so privileged to be able to attend this university and be able to do this research. The fact that FSU aligns with goals that affect me, those are all things that I'm so happy to be a part of.
This really is a unique opportunity for undergraduate students that Florida State is able to offer, that we have this funding to support undergraduates in their research and creative endeavors. And we really appreciate all the support from the Tallahassee community as well as the university, and thank the president for supporting this event and for coming to speak with all of our students.
New research from Florida State University sheds light on the frequency and effectiveness of prescribed burns in Florida, and it could have a global impact. Two researchers in Florida State's Department of Earth, Ocean, and Atmospheric Science published a study that says we may be underestimating just how many fires are taking place in Florida and the impact they're having. We talked with the researchers about the implications.
A prescribed burn is a burn that's basically scheduled. We know it's going to happen, we know where it's going to happen.
Fires are a major source of smoke, and inhalation of smoke is a major health hazard. We have about 60 million people in the southeast U.S., and all these fires are burning in pretty close range to where a lot of people are living. So we want to know what's the contribution of these fires to air quality. Fire experts have known for a long time that detecting these small prescribed fires is hard, but we really haven't had data sets that could evaluate how good or bad the satellites were performing. We found that the current generation of satellites detects only 1/3 to 1/4 of the fires that are actually burning. That means that there's actually 3 to 4 times more fire burning on the landscape than is known by most scientific data sets.
So by using this, we are hoping to extend it to those other areas that have similar fire sizes, similar landscape types, and say, okay, well, they don't have the ground records, but everything else is pretty similar. So hopefully our study and being able to extend it to other areas of the world, we're going to get that more complete data set. It's great to be able to answer little questions, but you really want to be able to get those big questions and help out and advance the science that much more, so that eventually you keep getting closer and closer to an ultimate goal or an ultimate truth.
The study's findings are specific to Florida, but researchers suspect similar limitations extend to the rest of the United States.
And new research shows it could be a love-hate relationship when it comes to hormones and marriage. New first of its kind FSU research shows conflict in marriage triggers testosterone in men but not women. These hormonal reactions may highlight why marital arguments can escalate. The study is published in the journal Hormones and Behavior and found that a man typically experiences a testosterone spike when he thinks his wife is opposing him, and his response can lead to continuing friction. Existing research suggests this response can create a pattern of negative behavior that has the potential to hurt the relationship over time. Anastasia Mahanova is a Florida State doctoral student in the Department of Psychology who studies this topic.
What we found is that when men thought their partner was blaming them, they experienced this increase in testosterone. And importantly, we were able to isolate their partner's actual behavior from their perceptions, and we saw that it's how they perceived their partner to be acting, not what their partner was actually doing, that led to this increase in testosterone.
To perform the study, Mahanova brought in 50 newlywed couples and chose 4 hot-button marital issues to discuss. She hopes to help couples better understand how the mind and body work together so spouses can use that information to handle arguments with positive strategies.
And so while hopefully marriages may be on the mend because of the work here at FSU, Florida State was also uplifting minds through its work with Fresh Check Day. Fresh Check Day is designed to bring the campus community together and increase awareness of mental health and suicide prevention resources available to students. The aim of Fresh Check Day is to create an approachable atmosphere where students are encouraged to engage in dialogue about mental health, ultimately building a bridge between students and mental health resources that are available. Susan Shapiro, coordinator of Knowles Care and the FSU Counseling Center, says the beauty of Fresh Check Day is that they create a community of caring where students can learn the warning signs and assist those in crisis to get help.
They are learning with a peer-to-peer messaging program about the warning signs for suicide. And then they're learning about all the resources we have here at FSU and how to get them to help. They have a crisis line. They learn about the University Counseling Center.
Still to come on FSU Headlines, have you ever wondered how we make that stunning commercial that you see during football games?
It's good to brag about the good things that are going on at the university, and that's one way of doing it.
We'll take you behind the scenes when FSU Headlines continues in a moment. Welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker.
And I'm Seshmi Hayes. Dance Marathon at FSU is one of the biggest fundraisers for the Children's Miracle Network year in and year out. And Dennis, it is a blast.
It is, and it's all for the kids, as our students love to say. Last spring, Dance Marathon at FSU raised a school record $2.1 million in a single year. That meant some big checks to the organizations they work so hard to support.
Dance Marathon at FSU raises money year-round, but it all culminates with a 40-hour dance marathon each spring where students dance and stand for 2 days straight. This past year, FSU Dance Marathon broke its own record yet again, raising more than $2.15 million for the FSU College of Medicine and its outreach programs, as well as the Children's Miracle Network and UF Health Shands Hospital. Here you can see Dance Marathon at FSU and the Children's Miracle Network presenting a check for $1 million to the FSU College of Medicine during an event celebrating the accomplishments of the past year.
It allows us to reach out to a little more community sponsors and say, you know, what do you need? We've been able to increase the amount of support for the Gadsden Health Clinics. We now have 2 full-time nurse practitioners out there. We've expanded the amount of money we've been sending to Bond Community Health Center.
And for more information on next year's Dance Marathon, visit them online at dmfsu.org.
It's an amazing event, and what a great way for FSU students to give back. All right, Seshmi, now let's move it over to sports and some exciting times in athletics for the fall sports teams. Football, soccer, volleyball, and others all into conference play.
That's right, Dennis. And FSU Headlines reporter Mark Vaughn is on top of all the action from Seminole sports on the field, and he joins us now for an update. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Seshmi and Dennis. Well, football, soccer, and volleyball, they're all into the heart of their ACC schedules right now. There's some other teams playing athletic events around here at Florida State. All in all, there's a lot going on at FSU. On the football side of things, the Seminoles are doing their best to get first-year head coach Willie Taggart into position to succeed this year. After a big win over the Louisville Cardinals on the road, the Noles took on rival Miami to the wire in a thriller, but come up short against the Canes. That loss taking the team's record to 3-3 into a bye week with 6 games left. The bowl season now coming into full focus with tough matchups against Clemson left on the slate, and of course the rival Florida Gators at the end of the year still ahead. The Noles needing wins whenever and however they can get them to keep their bowl streak alive this year. Of course, needing to get to 6 wins at least before it's all said and done in the regular season. Coach Taggart and crew thinking about what's in front of them and the opportunities they still have to build on what they've done well, and of course improve the mistakes they've made so far in ACC play. Over to the soccer pitch, and the Noles enjoying a lot of success this season, but a few bumps later in the season that have the team looking for another win streak heading down the stretch of the regular season. On senior day, in the final home match of the season, they got a 1-1 draw against NC State. That moved the Noles to 10-3-2 on the season. That's in a tough conference, though, in the ACC. And they'll end the year with 3 straight road matches in the regular season, sitting in the middle of the field, contenders in the ACC with the postseason on the horizon. Now we head indoors to talk some volleyball in a recent honor for one former Seminole great, Gabrielle Reese, getting her jersey retired by Florida State University. The Noles went on to pick up a big come-from-behind win in the match, too. Not a coincidence, I would say. The Noles used the momentum in the next couple of ACC matches as well, and they're looking strong in the ACC standings. After that, moving into 3rd place throughout the conference in the month of October. They have more to play for in the ACC, looking for some positioning heading into the postseason of the ACC. Okay, that's going to do it for sports, but remember, you can keep up with all things Seminole athletics by visiting Seminoles.com. That'll do it for me. Let's send things back to you.
All right, Mark, thanks for that report. Our final headline today, Florida State University debuted a new look this football season on the field and on the air.
We sure did, Dennis, and our viewers may be familiar with the TV spots that air during college football games known as an institutional message.
Seshmi, it's an opportunity for Florida State to showcase some of the unique things it does so well that make it one of the top universities in the nation. Here's a behind-the-scenes look at how this TV spot comes to life.
It's good to brag about the good things that are going on at the university, and that's one way of doing it.
The institutional message is that 30-second TV spot you see during football games and other television broadcast programs.
But we have some very, very fine professional folks internally here that do that for us, and they do a superb job. And it's good to tell our message, good to tell things about Florida State that are relevant, and I think that also the excitement that it builds up for our base of supporters and fans and all of our sporting events. So it's a positive thing for Florida State.
There's a lot that goes into making 30 seconds come to life, like work with the FSU School of Dance and working with the FSU biological science researcher Emily Duvall and her students. The idea is to show just a little bit of everything that FSU does so well.
Even though they're relatively short, they really capture the essence of Florida State University and its excellence.
But Florida State is also unique in that the university represents the Seminole tribe of Florida and its iconic symbols, Osceola and Renegade.
I mean, everybody I think in the country knows about Osceola and Renegade and the great tradition and the great relationship that it exposes for us and our Seminole tribe friends. And I couldn't be prouder of that relationship. And we want to showcase it. We want to let people know how important it is to Florida State University, and I think the Seminole tribe appreciates it also.
And their use in the institutional spot are major points of pride as the Osceola and Renegade team, led by Alan Durham, graciously appear in the spot again this year. Overall, the institutional message is just one way to tell the Florida State University story to those unfamiliar with the university, and of course, to reinforce the strengths of why Florida State is a preeminent university to those who know it all too well.
One of my biggest thrills, of course, is graduation, and I usually get a clip in there about showing me greeting a student at graduation. To me, that gives me just the feeling that we're being successful, that we're graduating our students on time. We have the highest, best rate of four-year graduation of any state university in the system. And it just gives me pride to know that these kids are going out and young people are going out and making a difference in our communities and our state and indeed our nation. So that really captures that part of what Florida State's about.
That's going to do it for this edition of FSU Headlines.
But you can see more news from Florida State University anytime online at news.fsu.edu. It's the official news website of Florida State University.
For Seshmi and for everyone here at Florida State University, I'm Dennis Schnitker. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.